What's up, you nerds? Welcome to Under the Hood. My name is Dinkar, and with me I have the Cat Boys. That's Jishnu. This is Tejas. You both are wearing hats for reasons I do not understand and do not care about. Let's talk about Disney. Disney animated movies defined pretty much everyone's childhood, and over the past few years, they've set out to redefine our childhoods by reviving some of their most celebrated films. In 2019, we got a couple of remakes to classics and a couple of sequels to classics. So we're going to take a look back at the Disney animated films from this year and ask the question, what is the state of the House of Mouse? Guys, tell me, what is the state?
It's a sovereign state. It doesn't really have a capital. It doesn't have
just because
borders.
you're dressed like a schoolboy doesn't mean you need to answer like a schoolboy.
It does have a capital. It's in Los Angeles. It's Disney World. Disneyland, sorry.
I thought it was Disney World.
Disney World is Orlando, and no, that was not the first one. Disneyland, the first Disneyland.
Yeah.
It was great.
Okay, let's take a look back at the animated movies from this year, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
The thing is, first of all, none of these are purely original properties. We have movies like The Lion King, the remake. We have Aladdin, also a remake. We have Toy Story, sequel. Frozen, sequel. Dumbo, another remake. Lady and the Tramp, again a remake.
Yes. But Spies in Disguise, I think, is part of the Disney
That's
pantheon
true.
now because it's Fox and I think they acquired, so yeah.
Okay, so that actually brings up the question of which way is the cycle going? Is Disney making this stuff because we want it, or are we watching it because Disney's making it?
I think it's both for sure.
Yeah.
But there's the argument that everyone is like, why are they remaking these things from our childhood?
But also everyone's going to watch them.
Everyone is still watching them. I went to watch The Lion King just like everybody else did because we're so fond of the originals that they know that that's like certifiable money in the bank for Disney.
Did you go in cynically going like, what's going to happen? I don't know.
I did a little bit because
I know a lot of people who didn't, who were just kicked because they were like, love it, let's watch Lion King again.
So I think the important thing to note is that Disney ultimately, at least the so-called Disney Vault, which has hoarded all the children's films that they made, all the Disney princess films that they've been making over the last 50-60 years, has obviously always catered to the younger generation. And now it's like all the people who watched The Lion King in the theater when they were kids all have their own kids now, man. So they want to kind of reintroduce their own childhood. It's like when we were kids, we were like, oh, I'm going to save these issues of this comic book, or I'm going to keep all these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys so that whenever I have kids one day, maybe I'll share. This is the good stuff, right? Stop me if you've heard this one where everybody's like, oh, cartoons in my day was the best. So everyone is like really protective of the nostalgia. That I think that's almost become emblematic of our generation, because there was that time where animation and TV and movie and pop culture just like exploded in the 90s, and that's like ours, right? Video games, exclusively our generation, started in the 80s with us, and now is like such a huge industry. So I think a lot of us just want to share that with the newer generation, say, oh, this is where it came from. It's not very different from, the Queen musical coming out and suddenly a new generation of kids kind of listening to Queen music. So I think that's the rationale, I want to say, for why they're remaking a lot of these movies, because they are classic stories.
That's the rationale that we're putting on it, but the rationale is money.
No, I mean, money, but yes, of course, but like they're making it because they know they'll find a new audience. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
True,
but it's a safe bet. That's the main reason. It's more like they
absolutely safe.
They have the money and the resources to hire on new writers to write new properties, to come up with new ideas, which worked for them 40, 50 years ago when these things that we're talking about first came into existence, and Walt Disney was around to like take that gamble. And now I think Bob Iger, the head of the company, is now I think more invested in creating new original content for non-Disney princess Disney properties, like your Marvels, like your Star Wars, like your things like that's where they're really putting their money into, investing into gambles, into like putting money into the Eternals, putting money into things that...
I disagree. As a big fan of the Disney princess line, I can assure you that new Disney princess movies have been coming out in the last 10 years, right?
Absolutely, but the ratio is like 10 to 1 is my point.
No, it's not. It's like, so if you actually look at Disney animation, they have kind of really changed the game when it comes to their repertoire, because earlier, of course, they were relying on, a lot of sequels, a lot of straight-to-DVD movies, Pocahontas 2, Journey to the New World. Nobody cares about you, John Rolfe. We care about John Smith. But actually, no, that's a terrible tale. It's problematic right now.
It is, yeah.
Okay, but the point is that in the last 10 years, we've had from Disney Animation movies that rival Pixar, which is again Disney.
Yeah.
But like in terms of quality and entertainment, like they've had like whether it's Zootopia or Wreck-It Ralph, Ralph Breaks the Internet. They've had, I mean, Frozen was new, Moana is new.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of new kind of content.
Absolutely. So we're not saying that Disney can't
I'm
make.
just defending Disney. I love Disney.
Oh,
Sorry.
Disney really needed a defender.
Yeah,
Thank God you're here to
they
say
need
that.
lawyers.
They had defenders, and then that season sucked.
I'm saying, so we're not saying that Disney can't make good movies. If anything, we're looking at Disney in 2019 and saying, why didn't they make as many good original movies? Because Frozen, completely fresh property, not even based on an existing story really, and a blockbuster. And
I
this
mean, it
really
is
saw-
based on an old, just like
Sure,
all
I
those
mean,
Hans Christian Andersen
similar
films.
to The Lion King essentially being the Hamlet or whatever, right? Now, Disney is rarely going to make something that's completely left field. They rely a lot on like classic storytelling tropes. But in 2019, we have something like The Lion King, which tried to replicate what The Jungle Book did a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
The Jungle Book really worked. The Lion King,
But there was a good reason for that, right? Like I think
Yes.
the Jungle Book was like a lot older. So
something that really needed a refresh.
yeah, could have used a refresh. The Lion King is barely like maybe 20 years old, and like you can still watch that movie, and
Yeah.
it's still excellent, and it didn't require this treatment, I'd say. Only,
Yeah, it kind of
yeah.
misunderstands the point of why The Lion King was an animated movie by making it a Nat Geo
Yeah,
documentary.
yeah, exactly. You can't make hyper-realistic animals and then make them express. That was our problem with
Yeah.
it overall.
Yeah.
And then that.
That was a problem with Mowgli as well, the Andy Serkis movie.
I saw that movie.
And
It was very average, but not as offensive as the animation of the Lion King. They tried to make the
Yeah.
characters as expressive as Andy Serkis is when he plays a lot of. I mean, if you guys have seen the last Planet of the Apes trilogy, which I always speak about, man, that movie, those movies are incredible because they take hyper-realistic kind of looking apes and make them emote like they're humans. And obviously, yeah, lions a little harder because they don't have the same kind of facial
Yeah.
features that humans do, which is why it makes it a lot easier. But still, I mean, still very difficult story to tell when you can't, like, it's like, oh my god, spoilers, Mufasa, oh no. But this is the face. It's the same face. It's a lion face.
It is an animal's face, so there's like a limit to what you can do with it. But let's look at something like Aladdin, right?
Let's look
of,
at Aladdin.
Expressive faces because you have real faces, like Will
What do you
Smith's
guys
face
think of
and-
Aladdin? We've done
it
this.
was better. It was better than I thought it would. I liked it more than I thought I would like
enjoyed
it.
it.
Not, that's not to say that it was
enjoyed
good.
it.
Yes, I enjoyed it as well, but I was holding it to a higher standard, which I don't think it quite met.
I don't think it met, but I did think that, you know, in terms of like the refresh that we say some of these films needed, I think they did something interesting with Princess Jasmine's character. But like in the end, she becomes the Sultan, right? And that makes sense because she's the daughter of the king. And, you know, so a lot of those things which like are no-brainers when you watch the original, but you can't just like put it together because you're a baby.
Yeah.
And now you're just like, yeah, of course that makes sense. There was a new song added which we didn't like, but
Same with Lion King.
Exactly.
New song
So like,
Yeah.
didn't like any
yeah,
of these.
there's
Spirit
a-
by Beyonce.
both of these have been very mixed bag vibes. But Frozen 2, tell us about Frozen 2.
I think Frozen 2 was not as good as Frozen 1 for multiple reasons, but it's a gorgeous movie and it has something interesting to say for about 5 minutes. You know, like you think it's gonna go somewhere, but it doesn't really double down on it because I think it's
Yeah.
a very serious issue that they could have, but it's like for kids, man, in the end. And like, but the songs are, I think a lot of people have been crapping on the soundtrack, but I think it's a lot more ambitious and I think it's good
sounds
once you
pretty
get
good.
into
Yeah,
it.
there's some interesting
It's good.
choices there.
Yo, I love Frozen. I can't say anything wrong about it.
Yes, but I don't think Disney should get a free pass just because they have made stuff we've loved. So what
Disney,
I mean
get
is,
take my money and go. But I will say, let's talk about the best animated film this year.
Toy Story
From
4
Toy Story 4.
from Pixar. So that's a distinction that can be made. But
They
it was
bought
great.
them with money.
They bought it with money.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. Hey, you
It's
like
called
that?
Disney,
You like
it's
that
all-
Marvel thing, right? You buy it with money.
I mean, you're a Disney defender, they can buy you with money.
They have.
Or actually, more accurately, they would buy me with money as a Disney hate. I don't even hate Disney. I'm just being a rational, neutral being
No,
here.
it's okay. I know. I'm just trying to defend some of their choices. I know that they get a lot of flack for.
They don't
I
need
think,
it. I think they
I think
deserve
a big issue is
Okay,
also like
we
something
should be
that's so
speaking
big.
truth to power, and right now Disney is all the power.
But that's the thing. It's so big. I don't think you can like just carpet the whole thing or like put it under one big umbrella.
Yeah, it's
you
very
can't say
difficult.
like
I'm not putting
Disney,
it under one umbrella. I'm saying in 2019, Disney did not do what it should have done. They are kind of
at the same
coasting
time,
on
they
their
gave us freaking
past
Endgame
successes.
and they're about to give us Rise of Skywalker. So
Boom.
that's my point is you can't.
Marvel. I'm talking about Disney animated movies.
That's
But
the
Aladdin and
caveat.
Lion
You
King
can't
are
say
not
Disney
Disney
anything.
The
animated.
title of this episode is Disney animated movies in 2019. So stick to that
Okay,
point.
fair enough. Okay, but okay, if you want to look at,
I do feel like a schoolboy.
Yeah.
if we just look at Disney,
And meet me after class.
if you just look at Disney animated films, okay, yeah, all right, fine, we need to get new IPs and stuff like that, and I'm with.
And they have done that, like they did with
They did.
Frozen, for example.
They-
So I feel like they're following this
But not this
alternate
year,
year.
this is a
Yeah,
sequel.
exactly. So I feel like they're following this alternate year kind of
They
cycle.
are following an
Every
alternate
couple of years they go like, chalo, now let's try a new one.
No, but I think it's important to note that, I mean, there was nobody who was not going to make a Frozen sequel because that movie made $1 billion
Should make a
at the
Frozen
box
sequel,
office.
but like
also,
doing-
like
yeah.
Moana had the Dwayne the Rock Johnson and everything in it, but I don't know if there are plans to make a sequel. I don't know if there are plans to make a sequel
Yeah.
to Tangled, though they have Disney Plus series of films. So I think that's the
Yeah.
model. But Frozen has Let It Go, which is the arc of the covenant as far as Disney is concerned
Yeah.
in the last 5 years.
Sure.
Like, we understate how incredibly powerful that song became that Eddie Vedder even sang it at a Pearl Jam concert.
Yeah.
So, point is, they had to make Frozen 2, man. It's simple. And I love, man,
I'm
Idina
not
Menzel,
denying,
Adele Dazeem.
Adele Dazeem is great as always, but I'm
So wait,
just-
we were talking about Toy Story 4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing. This is the 4th iteration of that film, and it may well be one of the best of all of them.
Yeah.
And it destroyed me internally as a human.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, yes,
I don't
reboots
say it's the
and...
best of all of them. I have a different ranking, but
I
it's
know,
great.
of course,
That's another episode.
Yeah,
That's
on
another
itself.
episode, but I think it's such quality, man. It's undeniable quality.
Yeah.
And like telling a story of something that you think that they can't tell a story about anymore, but they do it every time. So I make it good. I'll watch it if it's a sequel.
Absolutely,
also,
that's all
fine.
we're really asking
Yeah,
for
yeah.
is make it good. I feel like maybe the distinction we could draw is it's interesting when Disney does even a sequel or a refresh of an old movie, but with some kind of intention other than like, let's bring that thing that everyone liked back for a bit.
Which is
You know
what
I mean?
Lion King
you have a
was.
point.
Essentially,
Exactly, yeah.
and that's why it's different from Jungle Book, right? Jungle Book was like, I mean, it might not have changed the story significantly, like The Lion King didn't change it significantly either, but there was an interesting visual approach that like really blew people's minds. So there seemed to be like a lot of, I wouldn't say artistic merit, but at least like artistic intention behind it. Where they were like, we need to tell that same classic story in an absolutely new visual language. With The Lion King, we're now familiar with that language, and there was less reason to bring it back other than just say like, remember how Lion King was great? Here it is.
Here it is.
I
Yeah.
agree. I completely agree with you. I don't think Lion King was necessary.
Yeah.
I think Aladdin was fine. It was interesting to see Will Smith take on the genie, and God bless Robin Williams.
Absolutely.
But like, it was
But
just
like,
like,
I feel
yeah,
like the
it's a new
reason we're
thing.
mixed on it is we feel like they could have done something more, and there were hints towards it, like the new little twist they put on the genie story and the princess story
Absolutely,
were
yeah,
great. And I would have loved it if they could have leaned into it more, and possibly they will in like
Okay.
Aladdin 2 coming 2022.
I gotta say, for the record, I feel really bad for the guys that worked on Lady and the Tramp because nobody's talking about
I'm
that.
watching it. I'm going to watch
That's
it tonight.
because as soon as it comes
That- yeah,
out,
that-
I'm
that-
gonna
that's
watch
that's
it.
because
I
we
mean,
have
on
this
Disney
show.
Plus,
So like
as
As
we
soon as Disney Plus is here, I'm going to watch Lady and the Tramp.
we're the exception, but that's my point is that like Lady and the Tramp and Lion King came out the same year, 6
Yeah.
months apart, give or take.
Sure.
Which means they probably started production around the same time. But
But
with
it was
these
probably
movies,
made for Disney Plus,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right. But now with these movies, it takes years, right? It takes God only knows how long and how many hundreds of amazing genius level artists to pull this off because you can't deny the technical proficiency of these movies.
Oh man, they are
If
incredible.
the why question
Yeah.
of why does this exist is a little up in the air, but
Yeah.
the how and what can you do is spellbinding.
I
It's
don't
incredible.
know, because
but Lady and the
if
Tramp,
I'm
my
not
point
mistaken, I've only seen the trailers.
is, yeah.
But Lady and the Tramp seems to be a live-action movie, except they animate the dogs' mouths.
Yeah.
But Lion King is like fully CG, so that might have been like a more intense production.
Sure, sure, but
Absolutely.
fair, but my
I
point
mean,
is,
movies,
point
man.
is the thing is,
It's
the
still
thing is
difficult,
like
yeah.
right now with the release of Disney Plus, they're really pushing
Abroad.
just a handful of things, just a handful of shows. They're pushing the Star Wars show, they're pushing Jeff Goldblum's thing, they're pushing just a
Christian
half
Bale.
dozen, about a half dozen things.
Seen the trailers for all of these.
But Lady and the Tramp, nobody's talking about, and those guys that spent however many years
Understandably,
working
because
on
I
it,
think like
it's
like Lion King was a cultural behemoth, and Lady and the Tramp is a beloved animation movie, but not as big.
But I think
But nobody's
also all
talking
the
about it.
people
It's
who
just- I just
probably
feel
talk
bad.
about, which are like kids' parents, are not on Twitter. That's not true. They're all there.
I
They're
just
on
feel
Twitter.
bad for the guys who worked on that movie because I'm
Well,
sure
then you
that's
should
just
watch
like-
it when
I
Disney
will
Plus
when
releases in
when
India.
it comes to India.
After
Alright.
IPL on Hotstar. Listen,
Yeah.
I will say this. Yeah, I agree with you in the sense that they should be making new IPs, but I'm still happy with everything. Pretty much most of what Disney had on offer this year, I mean, it was cool, man. Like, I think next year they'll do some more interesting things. They have a new couple
Exactly.
of
They
new
seem to be
IPs.
following this alternate year cycle.
They have Onward and Soul from Pixar coming
Correct.
next year, which is really exciting.
Some interesting
so,
stuff.
Yeah, Soul though looks like a sequel to Inside Out, but looks
Kind of.
it's going to be incredible.
Which I will take.
It's going to
gladly.
destroy me, but
I
I
will
know
happily
it, but it's
take
going to be great. Yeah,
Inside Out sequel should be called Outside In, obviously.
Or Soul.
And it's
coming
only
next year.
Or Soul.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's Disney.
Cool.
We don't.
Yeah.
We have no issues with Disney. Keep it fresh, man.
I have some
keep
issues
it.
with Disney.
Yeah.
But that's our Disney report card for 2019. I give it a solid D+. But D+ aside, the Fanhood store has some really good merch you should check out. They have a killer Frozen 2 line, if I'm not mistaken, and like just a bunch of other cool stuff, most of it owned by Disney in some form or the other. We're not owned by Disney for now. Yet. Yeah. So like, share, subscribe. Catch you later.